If you read the book of Deuteronomy, you see Moses, just before he depart to the mountain to lay down his life, as God told him to, he gave a great speech to Israel, telling them what they did in the past and what they will be doing in the future. He even told them plainly that they were going to turn away from God, and what is going to happen to them because of turning away from God. And so, this evening will be presented in a different way. I'll show you a video that lasts for about 10-11 minutes, and then I'll do my presentation speaking about the video and other things. So the video will be about high cholesterol, but it's not from a biblical point of view. It's from the world's point of view. So I want you to see what the world is saying, and then I want to present to you what God is saying. And then you can judge. If God is God, worship God. If God is God, choose His way. If God is God, make some changes in your life.
Amen.
Cholesterol is a type of fat found in all of your body's cells. Your body needs cholesterol to work properly. In order to get to all of your cells, cholesterol needs to travel through the bloodstream. Proteins form a shell around the cholesterol, making a cholesterol complex. It is then released into the bloodstream and travels to where it needs to go. A protein that is linked to cholesterol is called a lipoprotein. You have probably heard about good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. The cholesterol complex, or lipoprotein, that can be bad is called LDL. LDL stands for low-density lipoprotein. Normally, LDLs transport cholesterol from your liver and deliver it to the tissues that need it. But if you have a lot of LDLs left over after all of your tissues have been taken care of, the LDLs will let go of the extra cholesterol while traveling through your blood. The good lipoprotein, which is also the good cholesterol, is called HDL. HDL stands for high-density lipoprotein. HDL is good because it picks up the extra cholesterol that was dropped off by the LDLs. This is why it is good to have high levels of HDL in your system and low levels of LDL. Think of H for high to help you remember this about HDL. And L stands for low, which is a way to remember that you want low levels of LDL.
Cholesterol comes from two places. Your body makes most of the cholesterol it needs in the liver. The rest of the cholesterol in your body comes from the food you eat. There is no cholesterol in anything that comes from a plant. Cholesterol is only made by animals, so you can only get it by eating animal products.
The only way to find out if you have high cholesterol is to have a blood test. You can have high cholesterol for many years without feeling its effects. In fact, most people with high cholesterol feel no different than those without it. If you are 19 or older, then you should have a cholesterol test once every 5 years. But if you are already at risk for heart disease, your medical professional will probably wish to look at your situation more closely. The more risk factors for heart disease you have, the lower your cholesterol needs to be. In fact, if you are over the age of 55 for men and 65 for women, or if an immediate family member died of heart disease before those ages, if you use tobacco products, have high blood pressure, have diabetes, are overweight, and/or lead an inactive lifestyle, your healthcare provider will likely recommend treatment for you at a lower cholesterol level than someone who doesn't have any heart disease risk factors. Your healthcare provider will look at three numbers when they check your cholesterol levels: your total cholesterol, your HDL, and LDL. A total cholesterol level over 240 is high. A level between 239 and 200 is borderline, and a level under 200 is good. If your total cholesterol is higher than 240, your risk for heart disease and stroke is higher. Your HDL, or good cholesterol, carries extra cholesterol away from the artery walls. An HDL of 40 or greater is acceptable. An HDL of 60 or greater is very good. Your LDL, or bad cholesterol, tends to build up in the walls of your arteries. The LDL number you want is determined by how many risk factors for heart disease you already have. An acceptable LDL number can be as low as 100 or as high as 160.
It is very important for you to have good cholesterol levels in your body. This is because your body uses cholesterol to hold cells together, and also it uses it to make important hormones that allow your body to work properly. Let's go over how the body makes sure that your levels are good. The body has a gauge to measure the total cholesterol in your blood. If you are healthy, the more cholesterol you eat, the less cholesterol your body will make. If you eat less cholesterol, your body will make more. This allows your body to keep the cholesterol at the proper level. Even if you never ate any cholesterol, your body would still make enough. However, everyone's gauge works a little differently, and this is largely due to your family history. Some people have a gauge that works very well, meaning that it is sensitive to the cholesterol levels in the body. If you have a good gauge, you can eat a diet that is higher in cholesterol, and your body can still maintain a proper blood cholesterol level. Others, who have a less sensitive gauge, will find it harder to regulate the cholesterol level in their blood. Even if you try to eat a diet that is lower in cholesterol, you may still have difficulty keeping your blood cholesterol at a healthy level.
For most people, their internal cholesterol gauge works well enough to keep their cholesterol at a good level. However, if your levels of cholesterol are too high, LDLs will leave extra cholesterol in the blood. If the HDLs cannot pick up all of this cholesterol, it will begin to build up on your artery walls, along with other fats and debris. This buildup is called plaque. Over time, plaque can narrow the blood vessels, and sometimes this buildup may even block your blood vessels completely. Plaque buildup on your blood vessel walls is called atherosclerosis. A narrowed or blocked blood vessel can prevent blood from getting to where it needs to go. If the blocked vessel is in your brain, it can cause a stroke. Blockages can also happen in the blood vessels called the coronary arteries that carry blood to the heart muscle. This blockage process is called coronary heart disease, and the end result can be a heart attack.
Treatment for high cholesterol is an important issue for anyone's general health. If you have high cholesterol, you will need to take steps to fight it every day, just like you would brush your teeth to fight gum disease. For most people, living with high cholesterol is a lifelong journey. It can take decades for high cholesterol to have a bad effect on your health. Although it still does damage even when you don't have or notice any symptoms. If you have high cholesterol and nothing is done to lower it, then you will be more at risk for serious medical problems later, such as a heart attack or stroke.
Lifestyle changes are the first line of treatment for a person with high cholesterol. Lifestyle changes include changing your diet, weight loss, exercise, and quitting smoking or nicotine use. It may take 3 to 6 months before you and your healthcare provider see the full benefit of lifestyle changes on your cholesterol level. Generally, the first thing a person with high cholesterol should do is eat less fatty and cholesterol-rich foods, and eat more foods that are low in fat and cholesterol. Your healthcare provider can help you set goals and figure out the best diet for you. The more weight a person gains, the more their cholesterol tends to rise. Just a little weight loss can decrease your cholesterol level by about 10%. A moderate exercise program will help you keep your heart and blood vessels in shape and lower your cholesterol. Exercise will not only lower LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, but it will raise HDL, which is the good cholesterol. Be sure to check with your doctor before starting any type of exercise program. Nicotine can make blood vessels narrow and lower HDL.
If changes in your diet, exercise, and weight loss don't help lower your cholesterol level, your doctor might prescribe medication. Your doctor will base his or her decision to give you medication on more than just the cholesterol blood test. They will also look to see if you are at risk for heart disease from other problems. The more risk factors of getting heart disease you have, the lower your cholesterol level needs to be. There are many types of medications used to treat high cholesterol. The type your doctor recommends will be based on many things, like your cholesterol levels and other medical conditions. Remember that high cholesterol cannot be cured, but it may be controlled, and your cholesterol level is likely to creep up again if you stop treatment. That's why it's important to maintain a healthy lifestyle and take your medication every day, even if you feel fine. For most people, taking cholesterol-lowering medication is a lifelong commitment.
You know, when I'm in a taxi, the last thing that's on my mind is the music that you get out of the taxi. That's the last song that they play in the taxi. And sometimes it's some slap songs they play in Jamaica. And I come home and the song is just in my head. I'm not thinking about the song, but the song is in my head.
Yeah.
I wake up, it's in my head. I go to work, it's in my head. The last thing she says, it's the last thing that's on everybody's mind who watched the video. And the mind accept that message, and if you don't know the truth, you will believe it, and it will stay with you. The last thing she said was, high cholesterol cannot be cured, and you'll have to take your medication for the rest of your life. But during the video, it says that no plant-based food have cholesterol. So if I have high cholesterol, the first thing I'm going to do is stop eating meat. Because meat, you said in the video, only 2 places cholesterol comes from. It says your liver make most, lie. Your liver make all the cholesterol that you need. All the cholesterol that you need. Because when God made Adam, He never gave him any meat to eat. It was purely plant-based food. And so Adam had to make cholesterol. And God provided for that in the liver. So, if you want to lower your cholesterol, you don't have to take statin, you don't have to take Pravacal, you don't have to take none of those things. Stop eating meat. Simple. It is as simple as that. But what I've come to understand, people like quick fix.
Yes.
Give me a pill. Tell me a herb. And no changes.
No lifestyle.
I can tell you loads of herbs you can use. But I'll be no different from a doctor who cares nothing about your soul. But I care about your soul, and more I care about mine. So I have to tell you the truth. So anything that I say here is not to attack anybody's profession. If you're a doctor, and why I say cut against the grain of your profession, don't look at me. Turn to Christ. Because His method is totally different.
Amen.
So I'll go to, it says, unclog your life. And as you can see the heart there, and you learned something from the video that you just saw. Cholesterol, the first night we spoke about, anybody? What you spoke about the first night?
Last night, I got first night.
No, the first night. First night.
Yes.
Okay, what was the topic of that seminar?
Minerals.
No. The topic. Like this says, unclog your life. Last night says, no white coat, no stethoscope.
Under pressure.
What was the first night?
We were from
Descent of hereditary.
Say that again?
Descent of hereditary.
Give her a bottle of fire, please. The descent of heredity.
What was it?
The descent of heredity.
Hereditary. Oh, I didn't know.
So, should we take up the right one? So as I said, I'm going to ask questions, and they're not hard questions. It's just to pull your memory. So, as you can see here, the heart, and you can see the coronary veins, arteries, and inside, what's inside, the plaque, the buildup of the cholesterol. So cholesterol is something dangerous. High blood pressure, and last night I gave out a list of pieces of paper for people to write, and when I looked through every one of them, there was one common thread through every single one of them. High blood pressure, high cholesterol.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. High blood pressure and high cholesterol. Because those are the two underlying causes for every disease. Because they create every other thing, and that's why God wants us to stay away from the fat. That's why God, the first thing God did with Adam and Eve, placed him in the garden, give him something to do, work, movement, exercise. It says exercise increase your HDL and lowers your LDL. Right, let's carry on. In short, heart disease is the #1 killer of all people in every population throughout the world. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death of both men and women in the US, and the UK is following pursuit because statistics has shown that heart failure is now increasing in the UK. Why? The independent risk factors are family history, i.e. the type of diet. If the diet was high in cholesterol or animal saturated fatty acids and low in antioxidants, it makes one become predisposed to cardiovascular disease. Thus we give life to the adage, old habits die hard. Now,
Here's a stick. It's in your pocket.
not used to it.
There you go.
In Italy, they eat a lot of meat. In Spain, they eat a lot of meat, especially pork. You go in the supermarket, you see the hog hanging high, it's dry, and they just cut it off, prosciutto or whatever they want to call it. But they eat a lot of vegetables. So they live long, especially in Italy. Some of the longest living people in the world come from Sicily. But they eat a lot of meat. But they eat a whole lot of vegetables and olive oil. And so the vegetables and the healthy oil sort of cancel out the harmful effect of the meat. But it is still, they could have, if they're living to 100, that means if they were eating they could live longer. Cholesterol, briefly explain. So most of these stuff that you see me speaking is what I wrote when I was learning, like papers that I handed to teacher, and things that I also have. I've written 2 books, but they're not published. I don't know why, but that's up to God. So these are some of the things that I've taken from the books that I've compiled together. So it says, cholesterol briefly explained. A brief outline of what is cholesterol and what role its production, distribution, and consumption play in the prodigious scheme of human health will allow you to understand more clearly why God is a firm advocate of a diet free of animal fats. What is cholesterol? According to my research, all fats are lipid, but not all lipids are fat. So even though cholesterol is a waxy insoluble lipid substance, it is not a fat. Cholesterol is correctly classified as a steroid because of its amphipathic molecular composition. It is composed of a small portion of lipid, water-soluble molecules, can't call those words at the moment, and large portion of non-polar hydrocarbon, fat-soluble molecules. So this is a picture of what it actually looks like. And there you have head, tail, and the other carbons. So the structure of cholesterol. This, you don't have to remember all of this, but the whole point is cholesterol is made in the body. Cholesterol is important for the body. And this is just talking about the chemistry, the four-ring, and so forth. So you can skip my. Now, cholesterol, however, is not water-soluble enough to dissolve in blood. Therefore, it travels in the blood through lipoprotein, as we saw earlier. So, it says you have bad cholesterol and good cholesterol. That's another lie. There's no such thing as good cholesterol or bad cholesterol. Cholesterol is cholesterol. Full stop. Because you need both of them in your body. You need HDL and you need LDL. The problem is the proportion. That's where the problem lies.
Right.
LDL means low density lipoprotein. LDL means high density lipoprotein. Simple means that one must be high, one must be. So there's nothing named good cholesterol or bad cholesterol. It's doctors, scientists give it name. You might have heard of good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, but the truth is LDL is neither bad nor is it cholesterol. So LDL is not even cholesterol. LDL actually is the protein, as you saw earlier, that covers the cholesterol, because the cholesterol is a fatty. It can't travel in the bloodstream easily. So the protein covers it like a vehicle to transport it. Make sense?
Yes, sure.
We do need cholesterol. So cholesterol is very, very much important. Not every single cell in your body needs cholesterol. It helps to hold the cell membrane together. It helps to keep the integrity of your cell membrane from, because if the cell membrane integrity is broken, then you have disease. Because remember, you're made up of what? We said it before, cells. Every part of your body is cells. Your hair, cells. Keratin cells. Your nails, cells. Your skin, cells. Your bone, cells. Your teeth, cells. Every part, cells. And cholesterol is in every part of the cells, of the cell membrane. So, it says we do need cholesterol. It is a type of lipid found in all our body cells. So cholesterol per se is not bad for all the cells in the body need to function properly. It is the oxidized cholesterol that is dangerous. So we're going to look at that, the oxidized cholesterol. So remember, if you're having, I said earlier about the people in Italy, they eat a lot of meat. But because they're eating antioxidants, it prevents oxidation, and so there's no oxidized cholesterol. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Cholesterol is very important for many reasons. It is converted into vitamin D as the sunlight softly kisses our skin, and it is the precursor for steroid hormones like testosterone, men need it to grow, and estrogen, women need it to be feminine. So, without cholesterol, you don't get no steroid hormones. So, I'm going to show you. You're sick and they give you steroids. You don't need it. You don't need it. You're going to see what we need sometimes. Just a little sunshine. A little sunshine. Moreover, cholesterol is a precursor of the digestive fluid, bile, that the liver sends to the small intestine to emulsify the ingested fats. So you got the liver here and the gallbladder, the bile duct, and all that. Inside here, bile acid is kept. Now, you can't have bile acid unless you have cholesterol. And bile acid helps to break down fat. And when something happens with this, first thing doctor said, let me take it out.
No.
And they cut you and take it out.
Yep.
And then you have to start watch even more what you eat, because you can't digest fats properly again. When in the first place, let me give you a story. A neighbor, about 3 doors from me, just moved into the community. And I'm a friendly person, so I spoke with him, and he had a surgery scheduled for the last year, October. And I told him, no, don't do surgery. Stay about this. Because he had gallstone. I said, don't do a surgery. And I gave him my oil, the bottle of oil that you see there. And he drank it. I gave him another. He drank it, and I told him to use apple, just get some apples and boil the apples and just eat the apples. And then he didn't say anything to me until this year. He says, he was dropping me to work and he said to me, I didn't want to say anything to you, I just wanted to do some more tests to be certain. But I did a test, and when they looked, they didn't see anything. All they saw was little fragments, broken.
Amen.
They didn't do a surgery. It's fine, as far as gallbladder is concerned. So you don't have to. There are things that you can take easily and it's broken up. Because gallstone or kidney stone is just calcified minerals and fats tied together. So you can just take something and break it up. This means that when the liver makes bile, it has to make cholesterol first. The liver manufactures something like 1,000 milligrams of cholesterol per day. Even if you consume no cholesterol at all, of that amount, about 800 milligrams becomes bile salts, which is necessary for digestion of fat. That leaves about 200 available for other functions like making hormones and so forth. Leviticus chapter 3, verse 17. God's word can never fail. It shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that ye eat neither fat nor blood. Do I seem to be moving a little bit slower tonight?
Yes. What is going on? You're not feeling well?
No, I'm feeling well. But before I came, I drank a bit of my eye because it's very sedated. It calms you down. So that's why I shouldn't have done that. It relaxes you. It's not a drug, but it relaxes you. But and my mom is why I made that. My mom is why I made it because she suffered with depression since my brother died. So I made it for her. But believe me, she won't take it. So it says, therefore, cholesterol should never come from our food. For the liver produces all the cholesterol you will ever need, even if you are a vegan like myself. To deviate from the law that governs our body is like committing suicide slowly but surely. So there is no cholesterol in man's original diet. Plant-based foods, but the most abundant steroid you can find in animal tissue is the most abundant steroid you can find in animal is cholesterol. So each time you eat it, skip a slide. Cholesterol is found only in the carcass of animals that are dressed and prepared for food, and its derivatives such as milk, eggs, cheese, and other dairy products. Wow. It's not in any. You've heard that it's in coconut, right?
Yeah.
You've heard that it's in avocado, right?
Yeah.
Cholesterol comes from the liver. The last time I crack open a coconut, I did not see a liver.
No.
The last time I cut the avocado, I saw a big seed. I did not see a liver.
That's it.
Only things with liver produces cholesterol, and the only other thing that is in, and it's not a plant, it's not a vegetable, nor a fruit. Mushrooms have just a minute amount of cholesterol, and the reason for that is because it draws it from stuff from the ground. These increase cholesterol in the blood and is known to cause the most common form of arterial disease called arteriosclerosis, in which unused cholesterol, LDLs, as you saw in the video earlier, is deposited in the inner wall of the arteries, narrowing the blood vessels and eventually restricting the flow of blood from the heart to the body. So, imagine, as a child growing up, you're eating all these foods. Remember the video says high cholesterol have no symptoms. So you've been eating it, and by the time you reach 30, you find yourself having high blood pressure and you wonder why. You don't smoke, you play football, but all those years, you're building up a plaque until it narrows the artery. And so your heart is now fighting to keep you alive. But the good thing is it can be reversed. The plaque can be broken.
Amen. Thank you.
It can be reversed. It says, no, normally LDLs transport cholesterol from the liver into the blood stream to the cells that need it. But if the levels of LDLs in the blood are too high, some cholesterol will be left back in the blood as LDL is traveled through the body's thoroughfare. LDL is composed of small amount of lipoprotein and a large amount of cholesterol. That is why you need to have low, because LDL have small amount of lipoprotein and a large amount of cholesterol. It says, though the so-called good cholesterol, HDL, is a vehicle tool for cholesterol, the difference is that it is made up of high-density lipoprotein, which means it has a higher proportion of protein than LDLs. Transport relatively the little cholesterol that is there. So as LDL is a little portion of protein but a large amount of cholesterol, HDL is a whole lot of protein but a small amount of cholesterol. So that is why it's referred to as good. However, if LDLs fails to remove all the excess LDLs, if HDLs fail to remove all the excess LDLs, what you find happen is that over time it will begin to build up, as I said earlier, in the artery walls, and fats and waste join to it. This buildup is called plaque. And it's a similar thing like when you have plaque on your teeth. It's similar. So thus, while LDLs are associated with decreased risk of coronary heart disease, LDL is associated with the heart disease, cardiovascular disease, all of them, and other things as well. Right, whenever we eat the carcass of any animal that has been slaughtered and dressed for food, or its products such as eggs, milk, and cheese, we are only increasing the LDL, levels of LDL, and the excess cholesterol may form plaque if there is too little antioxidant intake. So you got the blood vessel, person, when a baby is born, this is how it looks. And if you live a healthy lifestyle, it can remain that way. Because I remember the Bible speaks about two persons, and I'll give you the example. Beautiful example too. You have Moses. Let me go back to the first one, because Isaac come before Moses. You have Isaac, and it says he loved, what did he love again? Not, you got Isaac, Esau, Jacob. Yes, Isaac loved Venice, right? And he used to get Esau to make it for him. So that means he loves meat. And it says, while he was on his bed, he couldn't see properly.
Right.
You know what that is? You know why he couldn't sleep? Diabetes. That was called diabetic retinopathy. Read between the lines. Read between the lines. Because he constantly eating that sort of food. But look at it then. You have Moses. God had to put Moses to sleep. And Moses was 120 years. Isaac lived to 180. Moses was 120 years. And the Bible says his eyes did not dim. You know why? All Moses ate was water and manna. And the manna that God provided had all the nutrients that their body needed.
Amen.
And he fed them for 40 years. And Psalms 106 says, as long as God fed them, not one of them were feeble.
True.
Is that what the scripture says?
Yeah.
But the scripture says when they cry out and say, we want this, God gave them. It says, and he sent leanness into their body.
Slap them with it.
So God's choice is always best. Always. As you can see, plaque disturbs the natural venous and arterial circulation that bears oxygen throughout the body. Thus, your health or fitness changes for the worse. For the blockage of the blood vessel may lead to stroke or coronary failure, heart attack, due to blood clot lodging in the cerebral artery, or the inability of the heart to pump enough blood to sustain normal bodily function. So when a person gets a stroke, it's because of that. When a person gets a heart failure, it's because of that, the same plaque. So, can you prevent yourself from getting heart attack and stroke?
Yes. Definitely.
That's nice.
God's word cannot go wrong. So this is just another picture of showing you with the heart and zooming in on the artery, showing you plaque builds up in the wall. That leads to the spot here where the muscle dies. Because the heart is a muscle. And if it's not when you eat, all the body gets its nutrient otherwise, but the heart only gets it from the coronary artery. So it has to get different feeding. What is the cause of high cholesterol? Let's look at the cause of high cholesterol. We know where cholesterol comes from now, right?
Yes.
We know how God make it. We know how the body make it. Clearly, dietary cholesterol is one factor. That's just one factor. Let me explain why it is. Although some scientists and doctors say it is not. The human body is an extremely intelligent and adaptive organism, and all its systems work together. This is especially true for the nervous and the endocrine system. The body is one system rather than independent systems. In the body system, the glands and cells of the endocrine system is responsible for releasing chemical messengers called hormones, like growth hormone, which is triggered by the pituitary gland, which they call the master gland, but it's not the master gland because the pituitary gland depends upon the hypothalamus gland to release things. Then it can do its work. Cholesterol is needed to make testosterone, which men need, and testosterone functions in conjunction with growth hormone. The signal to release growth hormone also triggers the production of cholesterol. So, whenever the body calls for growth hormone, the body calls for cholesterol. Why? Because cholesterol is the precursor for it. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Here is where it gets interesting. Flesh foods, and this is from Energy White writing. Flesh foods and their derivatives, in particular animal fats, interfere with the smooth operation of the nervous system, which works directly with the endocrine system, and as a result, it disturbs the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, the part of the nervous system of the vertebrates that controls involuntary functions of the smooth muscle and of the heart. And we looked at that last night. So it's the same picture you will see again. It's the same picture. All right. This interference inhibits the production or proper use of testosterone and or other steroid hormone. And as a result, the body keeps signaling for these hormones, and the liver keeps generating the raw material, and the raw material is then converted into the steroid that is needed. The raw material is cholesterol. So you're going to find out how and why the body will keep doing something. Because the body works in signals, and so one thing can throw the body into a disarray. Cholesterol is a steroid from which other steroid substances form, such as testosterone, estrogen hormones. Thus, result would be an oversurplus of cholesterol. So that's something we're going to see now, how that helps to increase the cholesterol. Another factor, sun. Remember, vitamin D, no one should ever take vitamin D supplement, but unfortunately we do, because no one actually works outside anymore. First time everybody worked outside. Do you remember the story when they went down to Egypt after during the time of the starvation? What did Joseph tell them to say? What did Joseph tell them to say? To Pharaoh. Pharaoh wanted to give all of them position. You know that?
So they're farmers.
He said they were.
Tell them that you're shepherds, you're farmers. Don't be in the city. Don't take any of the high position job that he's going to offer. That's what he wanted to do. Give every one of them position. Why? Because of Joseph. He knew if Joseph come from that stock, he knew what sort of men he was bringing into his kingdom. And he said, tell them you're farmers. And they stayed in their own little area in Goshen, and they did their farming in the sunshine. Don't just read the lessons in these things for us. Another mechanism that interferes with cholesterol use in the body is simply lack of sunlight. Say what? Lack of sunlight can contribute to high cholesterol? How so? You're going to see. Okay, here's how this is possible. A lot of sunlight prevents the formation of vitamin D and also reduces the production of testosterone, which in turn leads to an increase of serum cholesterol. How? First, sunlight converts the cholesterol on your skin to hormone precursor, which there are about 3 of them, including vitamin D, which are used to make substance like testosterone. The cholesterol in your bloodstream then migrates to the surface of your skin to replace the cholesterol that was converted. So basically, in a nutshell, in layman terms, you have cholesterol in your blood. Normally, it travels and it comes to your skin. The sunlight hit it, it turns into vitamin D, so that cholesterol is gone. Cholesterol that is left in your bloodstream comes up back again to the blood surface, sun hit it, converts to vitamin D, gone. Cholesterol in the blood, you get the picture. But if you're not in the sun, cholesterol comes up to the skin, stays there, and the cholesterol in the bloodstream stays there. Nobody move.
Lazy.
Just stay there. But if the sun comes, hit it, move, vitamin D, comes back up, go there. It's simple. When you go to the doctor, do they tell you this?
No.
Yeah, some of them do.
Those are doctors who practice like naturopathic doctors. And you have medical doctors who are changing their field. Yes, God said, if my people don't speak, the stones will cry out. And the stones simply mean those who are not Christians, I will send light to them. The 3 wise men. Who were they? They weren't Jews.
No.
But who found Jesus first?
They.
Think about it. So we are Adventists. All other questions for my wife had told me to say, so I apologize. All the other questions, please.
There's a comment, not a question. But I'll wait. I'm the comment.
As Seventh-day Adventists, we are privileged. I am so happy to be a Seventh-day Adventist. You don't know how much.
Amen.
And even more so at such a time as this.
Amen.
Because I'm living in the last day. I have a great work to do.
Yes.
Deviate a little bit. You know how I became a Christian? Someone growing up, they tell you, if you see a star, wish upon it. And then your wish will come true. And learn. Never judge people. Because God takes that which is evil and turn it for good
Yes.
to save somebody. So even there's no truth in that, God turned it for good. And when I saw the star, first thing the Spirit, because I'm a 5-year-old kid, and the first thing came to my mind, God, please make me a true Christian and bless me with a good job and wonderful wife and children. That's it. And ever since that day, that's in my mind. And that's been the ultimate goal of my life. Except for when I was playing football and I wanted to be the best footballer in the world. So stupid. Not even knowing what God was offering me. So vitamin D, so here you see now the amount of sun that we need. For the average person, what's your name again?
Susan,
Susan. Susan just needs 20 minutes in the sun.
I get a half an hour.
Now, if half an hour is fine, but I'm just saying minimum. 20 minutes in the sun. Another person like, what's it? Marvin. Marvin needs 40 minutes in the sun. Pastor, you and I need 1.5 hours. Why? Because of the melanin. Darker person needs longer time in the sun. So we need to get sunshine. Good that you're not in Europe, especially England. Man, England, dark, and it messes with your mind too. Lack of vitamin D. Vitamin D, I call it a systemic vitamin. It's not a vitamin either. It's a hormone. So, but it messes, if you don't have vitamin D, it messes up the immune system, it messes up the mind, depression and all those things. So sunshine is the quickest way to get rid of depression. I know for a fact, and not only sunshine, but nature. After coming from Spain, returning to England, no job for probably about, I don't remember exactly how long, but for a good while, no job. And man, I was depressed because I love work, and I work not for the money. I learn work because I've learned that it keeps me from trouble. And I was so depressed. And one day, that's my niece, remember? Went to the park, or by Ilford. I went to the park and I took her to Ilford in a park, in Valentine's Park. And we were feeding the squirrels and the birds. And they're so friendly. I just hold the peanut in my hand, and all the pigeons just fly in my hand, and I took it out. And I sat on the floor, and I put a nut on my leg, and the squirrel came and took it off my leg, and stood beside me and eat it. But when the squirrel touched me, I felt something just lift from my body. And from that day, I was never distressed again. Just nature. Beautiful. So when I'm talking, I'm not talking because somebody tell me. I'm talking because I've been through it. I've experienced it, and I know the fact that it works.
Amen.
It says, people who stay indoors face a lot of problems. If you notice, people who suffer with depression love to stay indoors, right? Majority of them love to stay indoors. My mom suffered with depression. She doesn't like to go outside. In fact, you can think of sunlight as the vacuum for cholesterol. It sucks out cholesterol out of your bloodstream. Sunlight. Spend more time in the sun. Play in the sun. You just saw how lack of sunlight gives you high cholesterol. Now we're going to look at some other culprits. Trans fatty acid. Who knows what that is? Trans fatty acid? Yeah? Trans fatty acids are like, it's in all these pretty foods. Tasty foods. A little bit more. In all this food. And it's made from vegetable oils. And if you're frying foods with vegetable oils, it can change into trans fatty acids. If you fry with coconut oil, it doesn't change to trans fatty acid. Because coconut oil have a longer threshold and high cooking point, heating point. So coconut oil is, never cook with olive oil. If you don't eat pork, don't cook with olive oil. Because when you convert the olive oil, it turns into pork fat. And it burns very quickly. Well, you can use it to saute your vegetables. Saute, because that's not. This process is used by industrial food. So basically, I can speak this slide from my mind. I'm just reading it so to help. This it's made from adding hydrogen also. So you can take the vegetable oil and add it. So when you buy peanut butter, you know that's how it's hard. So you have some, and most of the time when you read ingredients, it says hydrogenated fat. You've read and seen that? Yeah, so that's what they do to get it hard to stay and to prevent it from going rancid. So it doesn't spoil. But coconut oil naturally does not spoil. You can have coconut oil for 4, 8, 6, going on years, and it doesn't spoil. Because naturally, that's how God made it. It stays that way. So now, this is hydrogenated oils impair the function of the thyroid gland. So this is another thing coming up. Hydrogenated oils impair the function of the thyroid gland. So in other words, if you're using a lot of vegetable oil, you can affect your thyroid glands. And if you affect your thyroid gland, you can affect your liver. And if you affect your liver, you can affect your high cholesterol. Because who makes the cholesterol?
The liver.
So the thyroid gland and the liver works together. Both of them work together. Why? I'm just going to speak it because I know what is on the slide. Right, so that's the thyroid gland. So that's right here. Well, you can see mine easily because I have the Adam's apple, so it's rested right here and then spread about here. So that's a thyroid gland, okay? It's very, very important. It helps you to be able to break down, helps basically with metabolism. So if you have hypothyroidism, you have a slow metabolism, put on weight easily. If you have hyperthyroidism, you don't put on weight so easily, and you eat food and little after you're hungry again. So some people lose weight quickly. But the same thing can carry both of them. So now it has been clearly established by scientific world since 1930 that hypothyroidism raises serum cholesterol, which increases one's risk of dying from cancer heart disease, while a healthy thyroid gland helps to keep cholesterol within normal range. And in the video we saw, it's talking about the gauge of the cholesterol, and it's vague, isn't it? It didn't tell you what is the gauge. It's just saying that gauge, internal gauge, and if you eat this. So this is what actually gauges it. So you have here a pituitary gland in the brain releases thyroid stimulating hormone in order to increase the two main thyroid, T3 and T4, and the thyroid uses cholesterol to make thyroid hormones, and these hormones, especially T3, aid in the removal of cholesterol from the body via the liver. Hence, the thyroid gland plays an integral role in liver function and cholesterol regulation. Increased levels of thyroid hormone increases the number of LDL receptors on the liver cell. So you see how it works now? When you have a lot of thyroid, if the thyroid working properly, it increases the receptors in the liver that functions with the LDL. And what happened? The LDL would latch onto those receptors and it would pass it out of the body through the formation of bile acid into the bile duct, whether it convert it into bile acid or just send it out that way. And when it goes into the system, release it in the digestion part. If you're eating fiber, foods that are rich in soluble and insoluble fiber, what happens? The fibers will latch onto the bile acid after it's done its job in helping to break down the fat and bring it out of your system. But if you don't have a lot of fiber in your diet, what happens? It goes back into your circulatory system, and that's how some people get jaundice. So jaundice is basically bile acid in your blood, and it shows in your eye and in your hands. That's it. So if you want to you can easily get rid of it. You don't have to take any pill. Just eat some rough edge food, a lot of rough edge, fruits, vegetables, and it comes out. So that's what I just explained to you. All that I just explained. And that's how you create gallstone as well. So if you have gallstones, that's what actually causes the gallstone. It's not rocket. I'm not a smart person. So if I know this, any one of you can learn it. Because the last time I checked, it says when the Spirit comes, He will lead you into all truth. And the all truth mean in the scientific world as well as in the spiritual world.
Amen.
And the last time I checked, it says that when people look at the Jews in Moses' time, they will say these people are wise because they have a wise God and they have a law. Now, the only institution on earth at this present moment that cares anything about God's law is Seventh-day Adventists.
Amen. Amen.
So, we should be the go-to people for every single thing.
Amen.
What did I say? For every single thing. Doctors are confused. They want to know what is happening. Come to the Adventist church.
Amen.
Everything, because a lot of things they're finding out now, scientists, Ellen G. White wrote about it a long time.
Yes.
Long time.
Amen.
So, we are selling ourselves short. Don't sell out your birthright.
Wow.
Don't be like Esau.
Wow.
Question, is it possible to live a disease-free life? I'm going to finish early this evening. Question, is it possible to live a disease-free life?
Yes.
I say yes it is, but there is a problem. And this is it. If you want to get along with your cardiologist, do what he says. But if you want to protect yourself from unnecessary surgery, change your entire lifestyle.
Change your entire lifestyle.
Amen.
So it is as simple as that. As simple as that. Make some paradigm shifts, some drastic changes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not for a slightest minute telling you that it's easy. It's not. But it is possible. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So don't try to make the attempt on your own. Solicit God's favor. Solicit God's help. Prayer. If you can't pray, call on somebody to pray with you. Touch and agree with somebody through prayer. It is important. Now, seeing that I finished a bit early, I want to take 5 minutes for prayer. Because this is very much important. Because the papers that I gave out last night, a few people called me and spoke with me. And one individual called me and I break down in tears because it reminded me of my mother's situation. And Pastor, there's a lot of sick people in church. And not just this church, in Jamaica. I went back to Jamaica to live in 2013. 2013. And when I got there, the person sat beside me dead, cancer. The person sat beside me in front of me dead, cancer. The person over the other side, the person behind, literally last week somebody else dropped. And for all the disease that God says, if you trust me, if you obey me, I, God, will keep these from you.
Yes.
No Seventh-day Adventist must have cancer.
Amen.
Don't get me wrong, you know.
That's right.
Understand what I'm trying to say? Disease comes for two purposes.
For the glory of God.
First, for the glory of God, for Him to perform a wonderful work to show His power and His might. And secondly, just because we disobey God. Job didn't do anything. He got sick. He didn't do anything. And many other persons. But most of the time, we just disobey God. And we get sick. We get sick. And I know people who are vegetarians so for 40 years and they get cancer. My wife's uncle right now is battling with prostate cancer. And he's been a vegetarian for 40 years. So, I'm not here to talk about stop eating meat and vegetarianism. I don't preach those foolishness. It's not about vegetarianism. It's health reform.
Amen.
A healthy lifestyle. And it's not just about eating. Eating is just one part. It says nutrition, then you have exercise, water, sunlight, and the rest of them goes on. So it's not about eating. And you have people who tell you, oh, if you don't eat this and then... But eating is important. It's a point. It's a starting point. And if you get the starting point right, automatically you get the rest right.
Amen. Yes.
But if you don't get the starting point right, then you're going to be struggling. But it's about health reform. So, there's a passage in the Bible, don't remember exactly, I know it's from the book of Ezekiel. God says, Ezekiel, you're talking to them, but to you, you just sound like a beautiful music playing in their ears. I hope I'm not a beautiful music playing in your ear. I couldn't care less if you give amen. What I want you to do is listen. Because when I'm listening, people don't like to look at me at church when I'm in Jamaica and listening. My face expression is, but I'm listening. And then when I go away, I take my Bible and search what they're saying. And if what they're saying is wrong, I'm going to go to them and tell them.
Yes. That's right.
I'll ask them, what do you mean? Because they might be wrong and I might think they're wrong. So the point is, please listen. I'm begging you to listen. God is begging us to listen. Please, I'm begging you. I'm here for a short time. I don't just come here to share information. I want to do some good.
Amen.
If it's even one person, I don't work with numbers. If it's even one soul, if it's even one, I want to change somebody's life.
Amen. Amen.
So we're going to break up into groups of 3, and we have 5 minutes for prayer. Pray about the issues that you're going through. So we're going to get up in little groups of 3, and we're going to have a word of prayer. Pray about the issues that we're going through. Call on God, ask Him to hear us. He had promised that He will hear us. The book of Judges is all about that. God, people turn to Him and yield, and they turn away. They turn to Him. God loves us. So let us separate in groups of 3, and we'll pray together. Youngster? Come on. You afraid of us? You afraid of me? I know you're excited. What a question you said. Anything special you want to do? Go down. Let us pray. Heavenly Father God, I thank you for this opportunity to be in your house with men and women who desire to seek after you. Lord, I lift up before you, Brother Danny, a man who loves you. I pray that he will live up to the name, Heavenly Father God. God is my judge. I pray that you will protect his going out and his coming. God, we know the circumstances of his life. You says the life of our flesh is in the blood. And if your blood circulatory system is not functioning properly, then you're in danger. So I pray that you will give him the strength, Heavenly Father God, to make whatever changes he needs to make. How he eat, how he exercise, how he work. The job that he does is a physical one, but he might not get the opportunity to do it very often. But in the time when he's not able to do so, help him to go out and have a walk or a run. I pray, Heavenly Father God, that you will help him to do these things that he can do for himself and bless his effort, and that he might get over this high blood pressure. Let him learn the simple things that he can do, how to eat, how to drink. As for this young man, he's here and his mother is not here. Normally it's the opposite. The mother is here, the children are not here. And this young man is asking for help for his mom, Nancy. I've met her. So I pray, Heavenly Father God, that you will grant his request. I pray, Heavenly Father God, that you will help the mother to come to know you and to give herself to you. Because she once gave her life to you, but for some reason she has walked away from the church. And she knows what is right. And so that which is in her already, I pray that you will send your spirit to give her no rest, but to be in her face, figuratively speaking, that she constantly know how you love her. I beg of you, Heavenly Father. As for myself, Heavenly Father God, I am not healthy, though I'm here giving health message. I need to be healthy. I need to stay faithful to the things that you've taught me. I need to go fully to 2 meals a day. I need to exercise. I need to use water properly. I need to trust in you more and pray more and study more, because health is not just about eating. So save us, oh God, I beg of you. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
It's a privilege for us to listen to you. Father, we thank you for the opportunity that you have given us to be here. We ask you, Lord, that whatsoever we tasted, may it be a part of our life. Help us, Lord, that as we learn, we may go on to practice. Thank you for the opportunity you have given us. Tonight, Lord, we ask that you may just take each and every one in this building and work on our minds, Lord. And whenever we get back and we see the things that we have heard that is not good for us, that we may just depart from them. Heavenly Father, we ask you that you may just live with us, help us, show us the right way to go. Day by day, Lord, I pray that you will put your blessing and your spirit in us, that we may understand and know that you care everything about us. You care about. So, Lord, we ask you that you will strengthen us to go forward. I want to pray this morning, Lord, for Brother Mark. Help him, Lord, that he continue to serve you in his own way. Lord, help us all that we may serve you in spirit and in truth. All the people that need to bless this moment, Lord, I pray that you may put your blessing upon him. Help him, Lord, that he may have happiness in his life. Lord, as he requests a prayer for his mother, I pray, Lord, that you may, wherever she is at this moment, stir her heart. Help her, Lord, to feel a touch from you this moment, wherever she is, sitting, lying, standing, wherever she is this moment. I pray that you may touch her, Lord, and help her to say like the prodigal son, I will arise and go to my Father. Father, bless us all. Bless Nicholas again and his brothers and his sisters. Help him, Lord, that he may continue to serve you. Help him to know that we love him. Help him, Lord, to know that we love him. And we want him to be saved in your eternal kingdom. Help him to give his heart to you totally. And I know, Lord, that you are willing to take him under your wings. Bless us and help us in the precious and mighty name of Jesus.
Right?
Question?
Question section. So I'll take the first one at the back from the, about a statement, the comment you wanted to make.
Well, I was told, well, here in Florida, we should not have vitamin D deficiency, but people do, even though they get enough sunlight. So the trigger there is depression or high stress. It's a very high stress area. Anybody that lives here is very stressed. So that eats up all your vitamin D, and the doctor puts you on supplements. Even though you live in Florida and you think, oh, but I get sunshine every day, you know, and the doctor's writing you scripts for vitamin D. That's the reason. It's the high stress that consumes all your vitamin D. So then that's part of the healthy, complete lifestyle that we have to find ways to relieve our stress in a positive way.
I mean, I hear what my sister's saying, but I like vitamin D, and it's not because of stress. It's because I'm not in the sun. Because I leave my home early in the morning, I'm driving to work. When I'm in church, when I'm at work, I'm there for 8 hours in a building. I don't go outside for lunch. And then when I'm leaving work, the sun is already going down. So I'm not exposed to the sun. So therefore, I like vitamin D.
No, she wasn't making a general statement. She was saying in some cases.
Okay, but she said if you live in the state of Florida, you're not truly.
Well, if you're not going outside, you're causing stress, even though it might not be an emotional type of stress, but it is stressful on your body not to get the sunlight.
And that is true. So you have oxidative stress, and you have stress as in you being stressed from life. Yes, Fern, my friend.
They've said that excessive exposure to sunlight can create dark spots on your skin. It can cause melanoma, which is a skin cancer, and all of that stuff. What is the reasoning behind that? Because if we need to be in the sun to get the vitamin D, and as darker skinned people, we need to be in there longer.
Okay.
Most black people don't want to be in the sun. As the sun come out, they run for the shade. So you know.
As far as far as skin cancer is concerned for a black person, you need not to worry about that. The hottest part of the equator is around Uganda and those places. It's filled with black people. And they're not getting skin cancer. So, we are following, putting on skin cream. Skin cream causes cancer.
Yes, right. That's what causes cancer.
The sun ain't gonna give you cancer. However, though you're a black person, because I remember I live in Spain. Spain is hot. I live in Barcelona, and I went to the beach, and I dipped, and I sat in the sun, and it was pelting me. And when I got home, my whole back stripped black. Because I was lying in the sun. So, to get the vitamin D doesn't necessarily mean you have to lie in the sun. You can just be walking, and it doesn't have to take your whole body. It could be just your hand. It's going in. So it could just be the exposure of the arm, the exposure of the leg. It doesn't have to be the whole body.
And it depends on the time of day.
And it depends on the time of day as well.
So in Alaska, in the hospital, we have sun decks. And so the sun decks are on the corner of the hallways. And so the way they get their sunlight is you take a break and you can go to the sun deck and stand there. Like say you're on your way to the cafeteria, there's a sun deck. You can go in there and stand there for a few minutes, look at beautiful scenery, mountains and all these things and pray, whatever you're doing. But you're getting the sunlight, even though you're indoors, but there's a window there. So you can still get it if you're indoors. So you should at least be near a window of some kind. Because it's natural light.
My sister? Right.
I would like to ask this question because I'm doubtful about it. I don't know which is which about it. I generally eat 2 meals per day. And what I discover when I try to eat 3 meals, I cannot get the amount of time. And because I have to have like 5 hours between before I eat. Sometimes I find myself to be hungry at night when I go into bed, as it were. I read that we have to drink water, so and I understand that is the fiber you have to eat, as it were, to prevent you from getting your sleep because you're not supposed to eat and lay down, except because you cannot go to your bed with your food on the stomach because the body cannot do the repair that it's supposed to do when we go to bed and we have food in our stomach for the digestive system to work. But my problem is now is that when I go to bed at night, sometimes I find myself making a cup of tea or making some fruit juice or making some kind of drinks. And I understand that sometimes when we take these things, some people think it's food rather than having plain water. So I have a little doubt about that. So what do you think about it?
Last night I gave the story about my 2 meal situation, right?
Yes.
And 2 meal is always better than 3. Always. And if you're a sick person, and Barry, don't let my criteria be yours. My life is different from yours. But if you're a sick person, the quickest way to recover, the one organ that places the most stress on the body, digestive system. So if you want to recover, it requires a lot of energy, and it takes energy to heal, and digestion takes a lot of energy. So if you want to recover quickly, shift to 2 meals. And if you want to go back afterwards, then you can do your trial and error to see if it works for you. But as pertaining to your question, I get the same thing sometimes. Like, I come from church and I feel hungry, but I don't want to eat. I make some fruit juice. It takes 20 minutes to digest, to go through the simulation because it's juice. Once it's juice, it's going to go through the system 20-30 minutes. You can retire to bed. But if you're eating a meal, then that's going to be a little bit different. So you don't have to feel guilty. It's not a sin to eat a 3rd meal. Okay? However, it is a sin to eat a big meal and then retire with that meal because then you're doing yourself harm. And the reason why the 3rd meal is not really necessary because you're not using the energy. And I don't know if you can see. To you, it might not mean anything, but it means something to me. I have a little pouch.
Talk about it. Come on, man. What are you talking about?
To you can't see, but I'm not used to this. I put up, about a few weeks ago, I put on one of my church trousers and I had to take it off. It couldn't button. Seriously. And I put on 2 of my vests and they couldn't button. It was squeezing me. So, to you, it might not be anything, but it's true. So, my sister, you don't have to worry. If you use your 2 meals a day and you feel a little bit hungry in the night and you want to make some tea, you can make your tea. You don't have to feel guilty about it. Alright? Answer your question? No, it's not my opinion. Energy White says it. 3 meals, no more than 3 meals. So if you feel peckish and you drink some tea and you know the tea is not going to take 4 hours to digest and you retire at a decent time without feeling some, alright. You have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anna.
Suppose I'm on this shirt and I'm going to sunlight, if you get the same benefit.
Yes. Because is your face exposed? Or are you wearing a shirt on your face? No, man, as long as you, no, you don't have to touch your whole body. So once you touch any part of your body, your arm, your face, your hands, you're still getting exposure. So you don't have to walk naked like some people, they go crazy in England. As I see sunlight, they
Which time of it?
right, to be honest, I never look about that. I never wonder about what time is best. Because I'm a simple-minded person. If I'm a farmer, I'm not going to wait for the sun to give the rays at the best time. I need to farm my crop. So I'm going to go out and farm. The farmers in Israel didn't wait for a special time to go out to farm. So I use those little things to make my judgment. These are man-made things telling you what time you should expose yourself to the sun. That's man-made.
That's right.
It's nothing to do with God.
Brainwash.
That's true.
Brainwash.
You and then.
I didn't hear you touch on triglycerides. My cholesterol is 186. My HDL is like 60, and my LDL is like 80 something, but my triglyceride is higher.
Higher.
So is the meat that I'm eating can contribute to my triglycerides being higher?
Right, so. And it's a very good question. Thank you for bringing that. High cholesterol, you can have a good cholesterol level, according to the gauge that they give you. But you can have a high triglycerides, and you're still in danger of having a heart attack.
Yes, the high triglyceride, yes, yeah, of course.
So therefore, it is very much important. Triglyceride is fatty acid.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to be very careful what type of fatty acids you're taking into your body. Coconut oil is amazing. Olive oil is amazing. Red palm oil, the red one, amazing. One of the highest source of vitamin E on the whole planet. Red palm oil. I went down to Food Town and it's very cheap. They sell them in the red palm fruit oil. It's a red oil and it's thick. Looks like coconut oil, only difference is red and coconut oil is white.
Yes.
So it's very, very, so what I do, I take both coconut oil and the red palm oil, mix them together, because they're thick, so put them in a blender, blend it up, and then you can add some flaxseed oil to it, and then add some hemp seed oil to it, and then you have something to protect the cell membrane.
The drinking?
Yeah?
Wow.
Yes. I take 2 tablespoons a day. 2 tablespoons a day. A lady, her husband, she's a neurosurgeon. You can Google it, you can watch it on YouTube. She's a neurosurgeon. Her husband has Alzheimer's disease.
I see that on coconut oil she uses.
He's dying and he's wasting away,
Yeah.
not remembering anything, and all she gave him was coconut oil, 2 tablespoons every single day, and the man went from.
Yeah. I watched that on YouTube. Yeah, I see that.
Why? Because coconut oil does not digest like the other oils. It goes straight into and provide energy, and it provides. Our body normally uses glucose, but coconut oil provides what is called ketones, and ketones is another source of energy for the brain. So anyone who you know who suffers with Alzheimer or Parkinson's disease, coconut oil can snap them back at their feet immediately.
Okay, so
No, because I took her question. I said I would come to you.
I know, but I couldn't hold it in my
Ah.
brain anymore.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. You remember. Pastor will say
Which of they are? Which is better? Which is better? The one you prepare yourself?
coconut oil you're talking?
Yes.
The coconut oil must be extra virgin coconut oil. If you go to the shop and you see and it doesn't have extra virgin cold press, don't buy it.
That's right.
Why? No, the coconut
That's
oil.
olive oil, the coconut.
Both olive oil and coconut oil.
What if you make it yourself?
And if you make it yourself, you can use it, but it won't be cold pressed. And unless you have a machine that can cold press it. You have one?
No, when I put it in my NutriBullet and then squeeze it out, you know, like how we grate the coconut and squeeze it.
And then cook it a little bit?
No,
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I put it in the refrigerator and then it
Skim out.
just.
Skim out.
Skim out the fat.
Perfect. And that, you good? That's fine. But if you're going to buy it from the shop, it must say cold pressed extra virgin coconut oil. If not, what you're going to be buying is coconut oil that has been bleached.
So the way that she just said is that
You can make it that way. Yes, that's fine.
you
And that's how I use it. That's
can
all
put
I
it
use.
through your juicer.
Yeah. And it forms the milk, and then the milk, because the milk is liquid and the oil is fat. And so one time you put it in the freezer, it's going to separate.
Yes, yes, it separates. Yes.
So you can do that if you want to do that. Yeah.
And even your hand can melt.
One at a time. I'll take her, and then I'll take you.
Okay, I use coconut oil a lot in everything. And I use that same one, cold pressed extra virgin. I had something else to say about the high triglyceride.
Or triglyceride.
Let me just interject. I'm respecting time, so 1, 2, and that's it, and Pastor take over.
Okay.
Oh, and then my sister, thank you. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. 3 more hands, and that's it.
My niece had high triglyceride and she took a teaspoon of olive oil every morning and walk. And in 3 months it was right down.
Yeah.
Every morning she take that.
Listen.
She walk
There
around.
was a study.
And up to now she's good.
Okay, the olive oil does bring it down.
My daughter suffers from
She said in a month, or
high
20 days.
cholesterol, and she says it's because of the coconut.
Awesome.
And it's here, it says it's
Speak louder.
Get in mind.
Where's the microphone?
Yeah.
We're not hearing.
Yeah, I have a friend who suffers from MS, and she says that
Multiple sclerosis.
multiple sclerosis, MS.
Multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, and she says that she cannot walk in the sun
Yes.
because her body produces inflammation.
Yeah.
And she gets very weak.
So people with autoimmune disease like lupus and MS can't take a lot of sunshine. So they would have to take a supplement of vitamin D3.
Okay.
So, and the vitamin D3 will work just like the sunshine.
Okay.
What about the happy lake?
I'm sorry, I almost forgot my point.
Please go.
This mine is very simple. Every time I go to the doctor, he'll say, I need a little more protein. So you gotta keep it up, to 4. Well, so I said, well, I don't eat meat. So he gave me this long list with everything on it that I'm supposed to eat. I told him I don't eat. He says, you eat eggs? I says, yes, but I don't use the yolk. So he says, like, if I have to get 1 egg, I have to use 2 egg white in order to get 1. So for me, 2 eggs are 4 whites. So my question to you is, do I get the protein that I need from the white alone if I don't eat yolk? Or is the yolk damaging? That's where the cholesterol is supposed to be. So if I'm not eating the yolk, it's bothering me?
Eggs, cholesterol is not in the albumin, the white part, and the yolk carries the cholesterol.
Right.
In LNG white time, she advocates that it's good to have a bit of eggs.
Yeah.
But in all other writings, she tells you that we are coming to the time when you'll have to discard these things. Now you should ask yourself the question, are we in that time? And personally I say yes.
Yes, we are.
Now, if you have your own farm, and you grow your own eggs, fine. But I'm not a farmer. But to answer your question in simple terms, I'm a simple man. I don't listen to things that man make up, telling me how much grams I must have a day. The body only needs, and when I learn from people like Dr. Walter. He's a scientist. He's a Seventh-day Adventist scientist. So I'll take his word over anybody else who's a scientist who doesn't know Christ.
Amen.
You only need 0.7 gram of protein per body weight. 0.75 gram per body weight as an adult. That's all you need. Protein is overrated.
Yes, it's true. That is true.
Listen, the body cannot store protein. And if it cannot store it, if you consume too much of it, you're going to be in danger. And in danger of developing arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. Why? Because when you eat the protein and it cannot store it, it has to convert it into fat to store it somewhere else. But the process of the conversion creates ammonia and uric acid and all these things, and they stuck up in the joint, and your body becomes very acidic. So protein is overrated. The reason they put so much pressure on protein, you want to know the truth? It's to sell milk, cheese, and meat. It's for the industry. That's all it is. Got milk? That's all it is. So 1 egg white, if you want to use the egg, yeah, that's fine. And as I said, respecting time, I'm closing off. I know you have a question, but you can ask me otherwise. But to respect time, thank you for listening, and I hope you go and put some of these things into practice. Okay? Pastor, you have someone to pray?
Are we on for tomorrow night?
Oh, sorry, for tomorrow night. Bring a friend. You know why? I'll be talking about breast cancer. I'll be talking about soy. Is it good or is it bad? And tomorrow is what? Tuesday? Wednesday, I'll be talking about prostate cancer. I'll be telling you what caused it and how to cure it. I'll be telling you the underlying cause of prostate and how to get rid of it. I'll tell you the underlying cause tomorrow of breast cancer and what you can do to reverse it. So bring a friend. Do not come by yourself.